Parkour! Parkour!
What are you guys doing?
Parkour!
Can't you read the sign? You know where you're at.
No idea where.
We are at the Colfax County Courthouse, and there's somebody that's not going to appreciate this very much. Here comes Denise Krutzel, and she is the Colfax County Attorney. You know what she could do to you for this?
Nope.
Denise?
Hi guys, I'm the county attorney. I'm the chief law enforcement officer for Colfax County. It means I handle all the different crimes that occur here in Colfax County. I'm also the civil attorney for the county, so I handle everything from tax foreclosures to employment issues. Finally, I'm the county coroner. Do you know that Nebraska is the only state in the country where the county attorney is also the county coroner?
No idea.
I think you guys need to learn some more about county government.
I think they do too. Trip for immortality!
I just want to go to the water park.
If you're like these guys, you don't know much about county government. No problem, we gotcha. Over 3,000 counties exist in the United States, taking care of the local issues within each state. This first ever county government quest comes to you from Nebraska. Nebraska is a rural state with 93 counties. Populations vary from just 500 people to over 500,000. Our county officials do the hard work, assisting all of us in practical ways. Now, the county government quest crew. First, Jordan Brekacek. His brother Tyler. The always emotional John Yostin. And me, the old teacher, Scott Polacek.
What are you doing? We've got a schedule to keep!
Hello there, young man.
Hello. Is this a snack bar?
Snack
Oh
bar?
my goodness. No, it's not the snack bar. You're at the county clerk's office.
What's that?
What's that? We issue marriage licenses. We do voter registration. We are basically the HR department for the county, so if you wanted to apply for a job, we'd give you the application and process all that. If the county owed you a bill, say you raked our lawn, and you saw how big our lawn is, you would turn your bill in here.
We just call this department to get anywhere else out if we need to find something.
We think we're the everlasting know-it-alls. How's that?
Sounds like an awesome idea. So now we know where to call next time we need something.
That's right. We'll point you in the right direction every time. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yes, most of the time.
Well, could you point us in the direction of the snack bar?
I wish we had a snack bar, young man. I probably have some candy around here somewhere.
Really was hoping for those nachos.
Nachos.
Mr. P, I want to go to the water park!
Oh, what is a typical day like as a county commissioner?
Well, a typical day involves three things. First of all, meetings. We had a meeting this morning that started at 8 and got done about 11:30, and that's kind of a typical county board meeting for us. It involves responding to emails. We make a point to respond to every constituent that contacts me with an issue about a road or maybe a human service need, and then also phone calls, whether that's during the day or my phone number's advertised as well, so it might be calls in the evening. In addition to meetings in this building, in the city-county building, we spend a lot of time going to meetings out in the community, gathering information that we share with our fellow commissioners, so we're making sure that we have good data and information when we make important decisions. County government's unique because when you look at the federal government or the state government or city government, you have three different branches. You have the executive and the legislative and the judicial. So you see that, president, Congress, and here in Nebraska, the unicameral, and the governor, and a mayor in the city or town council. In county government, the members of the county board serve as both the legislative and the executive branch. So we do a lot of work that you might normally see a mayor doing on the local level. And it puts us really close to our constituents. We're the people that they see in the grocery store or at the high school football game or wherever. So, and we make decisions that impact their budget and their their pocketbook or their billfold. So it's important work we do.
So how does one get involved in county government?
Well, let me share my personal story because I get asked that a lot, and I keep a picture on my desk when I ran for student council in 5th grade. So for me, it goes back a long time, and I did student council all through middle school and high school, and then had the opportunity at the university to serve in the student government there. And then following graduation, worked on a couple campaigns for people running for mayor or governor. So about 18 years ago, there was an opportunity to serve on the county board, and there was one thing that appealed to me particularly is that we do all the human service needs in the county, and I really had a passion for women and children. So that's kind of how I got involved in running for office. I didn't know at the time really that the majority of the work that county commissioners do have to do with roads and bridges and also criminal justice. So if you would have told me when I started in this about 20 years ago that I know a whole lot about jail design and programming for early release and community corrections and ankle monitors, I'd say never would happen. And the same thing about roads and bridges. If you would have told me I know a lot now about asphalt and concretes and culverts and windrows and structural designs and load limits, all of that.
Hey, where's Tyler? He's taking a long time to find his cattail.
I don't know, we should probably go find him.
Alright. Marco! Follow! Marco! Follow!
Oh, there he is.
Hi, guys.
Find the cattail yet?
No. Well, who are you with? Well, I'm here with Brent, the weed warrior. So tell me, Brent, where are we right now?
Well, we're in Lancaster County, and we're right next to a patch of invasive Phragmites. It's a massive plant, and you can't push water through that. Your wildlife has lost every hope of any, habitat in there for your wildlife. I've been out places where I've seen deer come right up to this and then just walk around it because they can't get through it. And that's what happens on river systems, and then it's gonna flood communities, and that's why our state legislature's put $1 million a year committed to working on Phragmites. A lot of weed departments do is try to educate landowners across the state on what noxious weeds are and the harm they cause. Weed departments across Nebraska exist because because of the harm that noxious weeds can do. So the Noxious Weed Control Act is state law, and it requires every county in Nebraska to have a noxious weed control superintendent. There's 12 noxious weeds in the state. Counties can add additional noxious weeds, and we've got this by far is our most challenging one because of the habitat it grows in the river systems and the riparian areas.
How would you get rid of this stuff? Or
how would you control it?
Okay, so control on noxious weeds is difficult for every noxious weed, and that's why they're noxious. They're the worst of the worst. But this particular plant, the most effective control is herbicide. It's a grass, so if you come in and cut your grass, it's just like cutting a lawn. It's just going to grow right back. The problem with this is if you walked in here 10 to 15 feet, it's probably wet in there. It likes to grow in riparian areas. It likes to grow along your river systems. So a lot of our control options on the rivers are with helicopter applications.
There's so much coverage here that it'd be hard to hit it all with the herbicide in one shot, wouldn't it?
Yep. Typically an agricultural airplane or helicopter uses about a gallon and a half product per acre. When we go out to control this, we use 15 gallons per acre. Because as big as this plant is above ground, 70% of it's still below the ground in the root structure.
We're ready for questions.
Pick me!
You in the middle.
Oh, tell me about what the health department does.
The health department does 3 basic functions. They protect, they promote, and they prevent. What do they protect? They protect the public from public health emergencies, such as smallpox. They promote health. Get more exercise, eat healthy, wear your sunscreen, wear your DEET, and they prevent infectious diseases.
Pick me!
You in the green.
Alright, sweet. So, Helena and Joy, can you tell me what this big honkin' cigarette is all about?
you could find gasoline, rat poisoning,
and other chemicals that are found in things like thermometers and PVC pipe. All the same chemicals can be found in cigarettes. They're very harmful to your health, and the health department helps promote education so that people understand the dangers of smoking, and especially to help youth not start smoking.
Okay, Melissa, I heard you guys in the health do very crazy things with mosquitoes. Could you please enlighten me on what you guys do here?
Department, one of our roles is to trap mosquitoes and have them sent to the lab where they are tested to see if they have West Nile virus. We also send out comic books and we give out DEET wipes to help prevent the spread of West Nile to other people. And we contract with local radio stations to take these products out and promote West Nile virus protection during county fairs.
I want to go to the water park.
Mr. P, can we go to the water park?
So Chad, tell us a little bit more about what zoning is.
Well, zoning is a way to control uses on land, and zoning is a way to separate land uses to help control change, to help people know what they can expect can happen on that property.
How is zoning done on a local level?
Well, zoning really is all about local control. Zoning is done by cities, villages, and counties. It's not the state coming down saying, this is how you have to do it. It's each individual community and the people in those communities trying to express their hopes and dreams and plans for the future and how to get there. Zoning is a means to take that comprehensive plan that was done by the steering committee, by a group of concerned citizens, that was adopted by the county board, and making that comprehensive plan into a reality. It's one of those real tools to make sure that those things can happen. We've got Valentine sand in Hall County. Valentine sand is pretty common across Nebraska, but Valentine sand can percolate at a rate of 5 foot an hour. So 5 foot of water can go through Valentine sand soil profiles every hour. Is that a good place to put a lagoon for a livestock feeding operation?
Probably not.
Probably not without special considerations. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but it probably needs to be lined, or it needs to be a concrete bunker or something of that nature. It isn't just a hole in the ground.
Guys, what do you want to do today?
I'm hungry, bro.
Dude, you always say that.
Hey, we gotta find that water park. Do you even know where one is?
Gosh, I sure wish you knew a tourism director. You wouldn't happen to be a tourist director, would you?
I would just happen to be that.
Just the person we were looking for. Perfect! Do you know if there's any water parks in this town that we could go see?
We have great water parks around here. They're called lakes.
Ooh.
So,
maybe even better than a water park.
With
Maybe no slides, but it's
no slides.
regular, but...
So what is it you do as a tourist director?
What I do is try to convince people to come here and have a good time, and give them reasons to come here. We have the reservoirs, we have great hunting, lots of pheasants and wild turkeys. Another thing that I do is organize tours to take people out in the spring to see prairie chickens do their mating dance. So we have people come from all over the country and all over the world just to do that. If you're interested in horses and horse activities, we've got one of the best facilities in the state. It's called the Kiplinger Arena. We have close to 100,000 people a year come into town just for horse events, whether that's a rodeo or cutting horse or rein cow horse competitions. There are a lot more horse competitions than I ever thought possible, but they all come in here for a weekend, and it's busy nearly every weekend out of the year.
Testing.
Oh.
Alright, we're just going to dive right into this. So, Amy, thank you for talking to us today. So, what do you do as the county assessor for the great county of Scottsbluff?
My job as assessor is to determine and establish values for property, both real, personal, and central.
So, as a 19-year-old, when will I need your services in the future?
Well, you can research things like lot lines in my office. You can research house data, like when a house was built. People will come in and look at our information if they're looking to rent or buy or just get historical information on a house they used to live in or a grandparent's house.
What does a bad day at the office look like for the assessor?
A bad day out in the field would be removed from a property by a property owner at gunpoint. Sometimes they don't want us on the property. That also might include getting bit by a rattlesnake or a dog.
I just built a sky house the other day. How would that work in your jurisdiction?
We have something called an IOLL. It's called Improvements on Leased Land. Now typically that would mean like a mobile home or a grain bin that's on somebody else's land, but that could be used in your case where there is no land to assess. All we would do is value the improvements or the structures.
Heather, I understand you're the treasurer here. What is it you do exactly?
We collect all the real estate, personal property taxes for everything that Amy's office assesses, and then we also register and license all the vehicles.
Speaking of vehicles, I just licensed mine the other week, and it was a pretty hefty price. So can you explain how that all works?
Well, you have to pay titling fees, you have to pay sales tax, and you also have to pay motor vehicle tax. And motor vehicle tax is based on the value of the vehicle, not necessarily what you purchased the vehicle for.
So you are the treasurer. Where do you keep this treasure?
We have it all buried in the backyard behind the building.
What are we waiting for? Let's go! Where's the treasure at?
Guys, I think she lied to us. So you are the County Register of Deeds. So what is it that you do?
My office is charged with keeping track of who owns what real estate in our county, and we have a little over 22,000 parcels.
Are any of these deeds dirty?
As in, done dirt cheap?
Exactly. You have a lot of records that you have to keep?
So we have records dating back to the late 1800s, which are handwritten.
Can we go see these documents?
We can. We can go to our storage facility, which I believe you might find very interesting.
Well, why would we find it interesting?
Well, there's some rumors going around that it possibly could be haunted.
Ruh-roh. Like, Scoob, let's get out of here. Hey, Gene, tell us a little bit where we're at.
Well, we're in the old jail, and this is where a lot of offices have storage records. We don't have enough room in our building for those records, so we have records from the late 1800s in here, and we just keep them off-site because we don't have room.
Now, I've heard rumors that this place is haunted. What do you have to say about that?
We've heard those same rumors too, but I'm not sure if they're true or not.
If they're not true, how do you explain that? I'm a ghost! Ooh. Don't worry, I got him!
So as a clerk of district court, what is it that you do?
As the clerk, I'm responsible basically for keeping all of the records for the court and all the money for the court. And when I say records, I mean when somebody comes in and sues somebody else, they have to file the complaint. And every piece of paper that gets filed within that case, I maintain here, me and my staff. Yeah, just all the court records going way back when.
Okay, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
These are just court files. These are all of our criminal files going back a couple of years. We also keep all the money, so if somebody sues somebody else for a car crash injury or a contract dispute, the money gets paid to the court, and then the court pays that money out, filing fees, things like that. And we handle here in Lancaster County about $1 million a month flow through the office. I'm also the jury commissioner for Lancaster County, so anybody that gets summoned for jury duty gets summoned out of my office, and I summon juries for both the district court and the county court. One of my third jobs is the clerk of the mental health board, and somebody who the county attorney decides might be a danger to themselves or others because of their mental health can be brought before the mental health board, and the mental health board will make a determination on whether they need to seek treatment or be committed to a mental health institution for a short period of time to seek treatment.
Mr. P, water park!
actually recycled concrete. We had an old elementary school that they tore down about 6 years ago, and we stockpiled it. And we keep doing that to try to save ourselves money. It makes great road base.
Fantastic.
19 years ago, people didn't hardly even think about it. Now it's a commodity, and they use it a lot. So what we're doing is we're building a base on top of this. This is what we were working with over here.
It's basically just almost straight sand.
Right, yeah, kind of a clay sand box. We're putting this on top, and you can see how it's packed. It's making a base, and we're going to bring in recycled asphalt afterwards and put about 4 or 5 inches of that on top of this and make kind of a poor man's hard surface road. We're taking recycled materials that 20 years ago were cast aside, and we're using that to make good hard surface asphalt roads. And then there's a process afterwards where we come in, and it's called a chip seal or an armor coat. You put a layer of asphalt oil on top of this surface, and you cover it with like a 3/8 crushed or 1/2 inch crushed granite, and it makes a wear surface, and it tightens up that asphalt and makes it last longer and protects it. The road that we came in on, that 3 miles, we did that 12 years ago. That's all recycled asphalt with chip seal on it. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's held up for 12 years pretty well.
It's a good bang for your buck.
Yes, it is. No one person can do all of this county stuff by themselves. It takes all of us working together. And then, in my opinion, when I got into county government, that's what I said. What can I do to help? What can I do to make our county better? That's why I do what I do. A lot of people say, man, I wouldn't want that job. I want this job. I want to make it better for the traveling public. People don't always think you're doing that with the weather conditions and things like that, but I find this work very rewarding.
Mr. P, we're going to the water park.
So Mark, through the travels of this quest, I've learned that many county officials are also ex officio officials. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's, well, when I first started here 11 years ago, through the interview for the highway superintendent's job, it says, well, the pay is this amount, and which is good. But some of the other jobs, I mean, around Columbus, Fremont, pay better, things like that. I says, well, there's a second opening, emergency management. And I says, what is it? Oh, it only lasts, only about 2-3 hours a week, well, which is far from the truth. It's more like 20-40 hours a week, multi-roles, things like that. There's a lot of counties that do that to get the people, get good help into the county.
It's been very busy as an emergency manager around here lately. What have you been doing?
Absolutely. It's, well, the flood. We had flood in the northern part of the county in the Maple Creek, Shell Creek. Normally, if we have one flood event, it's either from Shell Creek, Maple Creek, or the Platte River. We had all 3 of them flood, all simultaneously. So it's never really stopped. People are, we're repairing bridges, repairing roads like that, so people can get in and out for harvest right now since it's the fall. But the Platte River, we have some significant damage over there. I'm trying to work on some grants, some funding, because we have a jetty system 7 miles north of Schuyler along the Platte River that's totally destroyed. So we're really concerned about that. This is the what ifs. If we have another ice jam, if we have another high water event, could significantly impact the southern part of Colfax County.
You can investigate everything from a cow out to a homicide or multiple homicides, and have been very successful in getting convictions. And you'll see that later when we go to evidence. Some of the cases, I'll show you old cases. So we're pretty proud of that here.
Mm-hmm. So everyone's heard like the good cop, bad cop routine. Is that like an actual thing, or do you guys just like,
It's just a
do you guys have
thing.
different tactics to use?
Oh, well, the good cop, bad cop is a thing. It certainly is a thing. But you come in and set them down, and without telling too many of our tactics, then an investigator or someone else will come in and do the interview. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll put the cuffs in front, and we'll always offer a soda or a water, try to make you feel comfortable. And we're trained for It's called kinesic interviewing techniques. That's body movements. And people, you can't tell if your eyes look up. You always hear that, or they're pointing a different direction. But usually in clusters of events, someone rubs their nose, changes their seats. You know there's some sort of stress when you ask that question. And a second person watching will point that out to the interviewer if he missed it and say, go back, that caused stress. If I take an item of evidence, say this is my evidence, I can make my own custom bag. And now I have that evidence bagged up. There's one of two things. We can get on the computer, because all of our evidence is tracked through the computer, nothing on paper, and we can just print out a label through our computer program, or if we may just do an evidence tag, and we'll put it on the particular piece of evidence. We lock it up, and it's done. This room has reverse airflow. Because we know, regardless of what anybody tells you who's on the marijuana scene or like marijuana, narcotic or marijuana in its raw form, like this pound, is toxic. And so the smell of it coming out, and our deputies are typing reports outside the door, we don't want them smelling that all day, because it's not good for them. So this room has reverse airflow. If we work a natural death or any sort of death, when we go there, we take all the prescription medications. Right. Because they don't belong to anyone other than the person who's deceased, and we don't want that out on the street.
Right.
And also for investigative purposes, it's good that we list and take all of it. We're very progressive in our jail for our inmates. If someone comes here and and they're drunk, high, they've got a lot of addiction issues, if we can help fix them while they're here and we got them clean and sober, we're gonna do our best to do that. We do AA, NA. We currently have a class going on right now back there. It's called IOP. It's Individual Outpatient Treatment Program, and counselors come in for 4 hours a day, 3 days a week, and they teach our inmates. It's just like going to a treatment program outside the facility, but we do it here. This is our detention nurse, Pam Hicks.
Hi guys.
Hi there. She does a great job. She sees, today I think our numbers are low today. We're at like 105 inmates. Typically we're between 120 and 30 inmates that she has to see multiple times a day. And for all kinds of problems. We get folks, and we're going to go to booking, that are in such bad shape, it's a wonder we can keep them alive. They'll spend a couple weeks in isolation trying to get all their medical issues addressed. They're going through detox, they've got injuries, they've got mental illness. That's one of the biggest challenges right now we're facing. In the last 4 or 5 years, mental illness is huge. We have psychiatrists from the local hospital, we have a contract. He'll come into our facility, do a mental health assessment on that individual, prescribe medications, and make recommendations on how we should care for them. Now we have 4 doors. And so you think about that, security's done in levels. Now, just to get to any inmates, they have to get through 4 doors to get out of here. When someone comes into our facility, we got to figure out, it's called classification. Where do you fit inside our facility? Because there's some inmates you don't want to put with other inmates because you're going to have problems.
Here as the incredible floating head, here with Eric, the County Veteran Service Officer. Eric, can you tell the students a little bit about your vital role as a Veteran Service Officer?
Certainly. Well, as County Veteran Service Officer, we are a resource available to the veterans within the county they reside in, and we help them navigate the tricky organization that is the Department of Veterans Affairs. Department of Veterans Affairs has many different sides, from the education side, healthcare, compensation, disability, veterans homes. There's so many different departments that it's challenging for the veterans to navigate that. And so we tend to use our networking and our resources to get the veteran established with their benefits, whether that be education for the young guy getting out of service, healthcare, service-connected disability for any injuries or illnesses that happened while serving, to veterans home when they get a little older in life, to burial benefits as well. We're a one-stop shop. It's our pleasure and honor to serve veterans within our communities, and it's one of the best jobs I've ever had.
That sounds great. Can you also help these students understand a little more about how the Veteran Service Officer helps with county government education?
So we network and work with the American Legion, which puts on County Government Day. And as the Veteran Service Officer, we work with the Legion, we work with the county officials to set the events and schedule and make sure everything comes together and hopefully make it an enjoyable and educational event for the students.
County officials fill other roles as well: the surveyor, public defender, and election commissioner. While some of these offices are elected, others are appointed by the county board.
There's county government behind this tree!
And this tree! And this tree! County government links people together, whether it's maintaining roads, keeping records, or protecting our city.
Hey, watch the door, dingus.
County government meets the needs of local individuals.
County government's everywhere,
even on a rock!
On Flex Day.
Well, 'cause it's already to do it. That's your fault.
We'll figure it out.